Hi guys, it is just another hot, sticky, miserable summer day here in the end times where the little dog and I have washed up somewhere in a secret location just outside of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And we have got, it is a sticky Thursday morning, I believe it's Thursday morning, August 22nd, 2019. So the little dog and I need to go pack up the gas-sucking truck and head off to Newtown, Connecticut for the next couple of days. But before we head off to the infamous Newtown, Connecticut, I'm going to see how much trouble I can get myself in with this rant. I think I might be pushing the envelope. Your old self-proclaimed unrepentant eco-Nazi. I notice Kevin Sandblum has asked me not to use the term eco-Nazi to describe myself or other doomers, I guess. You know, I think he was speaking more for my own self-protection, not losing my YouTube channel. Oh boy. Here comes the army. The army knows I'm here. Here we go again. I don't know. If I could get the rest of the planet as interested in my rants as these ducks. Oh boy, the duck patrol. Guys. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes. So anyway, what I did last week, and I encourage you to do the same thing, I joined this from the science pages of the Washington Post, where they're going to start sending me now every Wednesday a roundup of their top science stories. Their top science stories. And so I got the first batch of these stories from the Washington Post science desk yesterday. And I'm looking over them. I thought at first I should probably just take the safe route, where they do a story, this latest, just the latest scientific study about what's called the overkill hypothesis. There's no hypothesis about it. That who do you think is to blame for the extinction of all of these megafauna, these giant mammals? How about humans? That and they're going, this one is even going back farther in time than the one we usually talk about over here. They're looking at megafaunal extinctions in Europe, way back when Neanderthals still roamed the planet. That you know, we've been wiping out every other species of fellow earthling on this planet since we were Neanderthals. Okay? And this is the latest evidence on the overkill hypothesis. But I've had this rant enough times, so I thought, okay, Emma, you can't squirt water at a duck. And, you know, like most animals, if you want to get, let's see what happens when I do this. Huh. Maybe you can get rid of ducks by squirting water on them. No, they're back again. They say that was fun. Anyway, so the very first story in the science pages was this absolutely bizarre story. I'm not even sure what it's doing in the science pages. And here I go, getting myself in all kinds of trouble reviewing this story. I don't know if I'm going to read the whole story, but let's start out See how this is talking about mass killings, which we don't talk about very much. You know, on my way to Newtown, Connecticut, and I'm starting with the story on mass killings. 2 mass killings a world apart share a common theme: eco-fascism. Guys, I'm sorry. Out, 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 out. Yes, take your damn rock with you. They're fascinated by this rock, by this pebble. Anyway, 2 mass killings a world apart share a common theme: eco-fascism. Yes, this sounds like a real real scientific article. This guy Joel Achenbach is the. I remember. I wonder if he's the same Joel Achenbach that I use. Anyway, that's ancient history. Okay, take it away, Joel, in the Washington Post. Before the slaughter of dozens of people in Christchurch, New Zealand, and El Paso, Texas this year, the accused gunmen took pains to explain their fury, including their hatred of immigrants. The statements that authorities think the men posted online share another obsession: overpopulation and environmental degradation. The alleged Christchurch shooter, who is charged with targeting Muslims and killing 51 people in March, declared himself a, quote, eco-fascist and railed about immigrants' birth rates. The statement linked to the El Paso shooter, who is charged with killing 22 people in a shopping area this month, bemoans water pollution, plastic waste, and an American consumer culture that is, quote, creating a massive burden for future generations. That is exactly what it's doing. The 2 mass shootings appear to be extreme examples of eco-fascism, what Hampshire College professor Emerita Betsy Hartman calls, quote, the greening of hate. The greening of hate. Oh God! Here we go. There's the old. It's once again, guys. It is the eco-Nazis' fault. Yes. If you, let's see. So what is what is between the lines here? If you let's see. If you are concerned about overpopulation, environmental degradation, water pollution, plastic waste, and American consumer culture, then obviously you are one step away from getting an assault rifle and mowing down a bunch of people. Or like in Ted Kaczynski's case, sending pipe bombs to kill planet eaters. Yeah. There is really a connection here. You know, didn't Adolf Hitler like chocolate ice cream? I think Adolf Hitler enjoyed chocolate ice cream cones. So if you enjoy chocolate ice cream cones, you too could, you know, gas 6 million Jews. Oh, Jesus. You know, many white supremacists have latched on to environmental themes, drawing connections between the protection of nature and racial exclusion. these ideas have shown themselves to be particularly dangerous when adopted by unstable individuals prone to violence and convinced that they must take drastic action to stave off catastrophe, assumedly environmental catastrophe. Yes. The alleged El Paso shooter's document is full of existential despair. Quoting this scumbag, and just before I read this guy's quote, just for the record, guys, I believe this fucking scumbag and the fucking scumbag down there in Christchurch, New Zealand, need to have bullets put through their head. I'm not going to get off on yet another capital punishment eco-Nazi rant, other than to say we need a hell of a lot more capital punishment on this planet, not less, starting with these two motherfuckers, okay? But I'm not going to go down the we need more capital punishment, not less rant, eco-Nazi rant, because I understand just by uttering those words that all of these little social justice warriors will get their panties in a wad. But anyway, just before I go any farther here, I just want you to understand who needs to have the fucking bullets in their heads, okay? Anyway, see, I guess the Washington Post, I think they have some weird policy where they do not mention the name of, I think the Washington Post has this weird policy where they do not mention the name of these mass shooters because they think that readers of the Washington Post will copycat them. Anyway, I won't even go there because I'm not sure that that's their policy, although they don't ever mention either one of these fucking scumbags who need to die name. But anyway, they do quote the guy from El Paso, quote, "My whole life I have been preparing for a future that currently does not exist." Close quote. Yes, and if you're under the age of, certainly, how old was this guy? I think he was in his 20s. That's exactly what he has been preparing for. In recent years, the mainstream environmental movement has moved strongly in the direction of social justice, the opposite of what hate groups seek. Now the leaders of those organizations fear white nationalists are using green messages to lure young people to embrace racist and nativist agendas. And so anyway, I'll put the link to this article, and you can continue on with this. That, you know, they interview all of these heads of these limp dick mainstream environmental organizations, you know, putting as much distance between themselves and these fucking jackasses as they can. Alright, but let's get past all of those interviews. Okay, this is all happening in a rhetorically and ideologically overheated era in which public discourse is becoming toxic. not only in the dark corners of the internet, and I'm quite sure the Washington Post would consider Humpty Dumpty Tribe to be a dark corner of the internet, but among those occupying the highest elective offices. Environmental activists want to create a sense of urgency about climate change, the loss of biodiversity, and other insults to the natural world, but they don't want their messages to drive people into deranged ideologies. Yes. This is someone that I need to interview. This is John Christensen, professor at UCLA, who has written extensively on the use and misuse of dystopian environmental scenarios, talking about the danger of apocalypticism. It's important, he said, to provide people with potential solutions and reasons to be hopeful. Quote, there is definitely a danger of people taking dire measures when they feel there is no way out of it. Yeah, like getting out there and enjoying this planet every moment that you still can. I need to get a picture of the sign on this little church over the cemetery just down the street from here. The sign with the cemetery in the background says, enjoy every moment, with the gravestones in the back. Hartman, who has tracked eco-fascism for more than 2 decades, echoes that warning, saying environmentalists, quote, need to steer away from this apocalyptic discourse because it too easily plays into the hands of apocalyptic white nationalism, close quote. And then they go back into interviewing all the usual suspects. The leaders of several major environmental organizations say that white supremacy is antithetical to their movement. Now, they do point out way down in this article that the alleged gunmen in both of these cases did not emerge from the green movement. The documents attributed to these scumbags are primarily focused on race, cultural identity, immigration, and the fear of a great replacement of white people by people of other races. The eco part of the equation is arguably an add-on. But these people did not come up with their hateful ideologies in a vacuum. They have tapped into ideas about nature that are in broad circulation among white nationalists. Then they mention this scumbag Richard Spencer, this white nationalist leader Richard Spencer has published his own manifesto that had a plank on protecting nature. Yes. Anyway, guys, it's let's see, I'm just going through all these interviews with these various limp dick mainstream. Okay, getting back to the story. Conservationists have a long history of wrestling with questions about immigration and population growth. some of those on the environmental left have seen the explosion in the human population, which is nearing 8 billion and has more than doubled in the past half century, as a primary driver of the environmental crisis. Wow. Some of those on the environmental left have seen the explosion in the human population as a primary driver of the environmental crisis. And that argument has now been adopted by racists. The alleged Christchurch shooter began his online screed by writing, "It's the birth rates, it's the birth rates, it's the birth rates," and then warned of the invasion by immigrants who will, quote, "replace the white people who have failed to reproduce." Yes, and then quoting the document believed to have been posted by the El Paso shooter, cites birth rates among the invaders trying to enter the United States and asserts, quote, "If we can get rid of enough people, then our way of life can become more sustainable." Yes, meaning that honky's way of life can become more sustainable if there aren't so many of those pesky little brown people invading the honky lifestyle. And I do like Paul Ehrlich's quote. This line of thought is dismaying to Paul Ehrlich, a professor at Stanford, whose 1968 bestseller, The Population Bomb, proved hugely influential. Quote, "They often cite me, even though I have spent my life trying to fight racism." Anyway, good Lord, and then of course they get into they wrap up this long article, and I've skipped over a lot of this article, and this could be a whole other rant that I could get myself in trouble with. A refrain among environmentalists is that if anti-immigrant groups are genuinely concerned about degradation of the natural world, they're targeting the wrong people. Climate change has not been driven by poor people struggling to get by. The activities of wealthy nations have been the main historical source of greenhouse gas emissions, the depletion of natural resources, and the destruction of habitats. Ali, the environmental justice expert, said he often hears people say that population growth is the big problem today, and he shoots down that argument. Yes. Quote, "My response to them," meaning anyone claiming that overpopulation is a problem on this planet, my response to them is, who are the people we need to limit? Who are the people making decisions about that? Until we have true equity and equality and a balance of power, then we know vulnerable communities are going to end up on the negative side of the ledger, whatever the tough choices are. Oh, God. Guys. Where does a self-proclaimed proud and unrepentant eco-Nazi even begin? to respond to their good Lord, guys. I could go through that fucking article in the Washington Post, trash talking anybody who understands that overpopulation is the single biggest problem on this planet, who understands the difference between planet nibblers and planet eaters, which is the difference between aphids and white-tailed deer in your garden. And that if you, I guess, that if you believe overpopulation is a driver of environmental catastrophe, then you are very likely to go grab a gun and start shooting immigrants. This article, the Washington Post should be ashamed of itself on every single level. I'm not going to try to put 10 years of Humpty Dumpty tribe rants into a response to this absurd piece of science journalism. Science journalism. Good God. This was the lead-off story of the very first science journalism roundup that the Washington Post has mailed to Hambone Littletail, right next to a story about how fucking Neanderthals were sending cave bears into extinction. One more time, guys. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with the human race. All of this shit about, oh God. Okay, real quickly. No, I just can't do it. All right, I will limit this rant to this. Okay, this is one more time, I guess, for the people who missed my 8 ways to save the planet that are never gonna happen. One more time, guys. This is a self-proclaimed eco-Nazis manifesto on immigration. Okay. We do not need to kill immigrants. We need to sterilize every single man, woman, and child attempting to cross the border of any country on this planet, regardless of the color of their skin. I just had this rant a few days ago, so I guess I'll just have it again for anyone interested in hearing it a second time. We need to make immigration policy 100% dependent on a global-wide sterilization policy. If you want to bring your little brown ass over the Rio Grande River into Honkyville, if you want to bring your black ass over to Honkyville in Europe, women to the right, men to the left, get V is for vasectomy, T is for tubal ligation. That should be the #1 and only. If you agree to be sterilized, come on in, and let me add that this is 100% the same for any honky who wants to emigrate to any other country. It works just as well I can't imagine why any Canadian would want to, any honky Canadian would want to move to the U.S. But I can think of all kinds of reasons why millions of privileged white honkies in the U.S. would want to get their lily white asses over the border to Canada. And as the number one rule that Canada ought to make for any fucking honky from the United States wanting to get into Canada, men to the left, women to the right, or whatever, you are not stepping foot across this border to move to Canada until your honky ass has been sterilized. And I think that would be a damn good start to the immigration problem. And let me go ahead and throw it on out there. It's not just immigration. If you ever want to put one grain of rice of foreign aid, foreign food aid, in your mouth, it needs to be tied to sterilization. That if you want to eat, you need to stop breeding. Very simple. You get the bag of rice once you've had the vasectomy or the tubal ligation. Okay? Then you can have your bag of rice. I put the same thing right here. If you want to get welfare in the United States, Canada, where are all those welfare countries over there in Scandinavia, before you take 1 penny of welfare, and hell, I will throw food stamps and WIC into this, you need to be sterilized as a condition of receiving any sort of public taxpayer-funded handout. What else? A hell of a lot more prisoners need to be sterilized. Obviously, every convicted rapist needs to be sterilized. They need to have their fucking dick and their balls cut off. And for anybody misinterpreting this, I want you to understand that I am still to this day a, quote, social justice warrior on one level. You know, I am basically in favor of open borders. Oh boy, I think the Washington Post has gotten the has sent the cops out on me. I am totally in favor of opening borders to anybody getting sterilized. We are one planet. We are one race. We are the human race. We are the single most dangerous race of Earthling on the planet. It has nothing to do what color the skin on our race is. We are the fucking human race. Every other race of Earthling on this planet wants every fucking one of us, well, they want every one of us dead, but they sure as shit want every one of us sterilized. And since this proud, unrepentant, self-proclaimed eco-Nazi speaks for every other Earthling, race of Earthling on this planet, yes, I am a racist, and I'm proud of it. I am a human racist. And for anybody not aware of this, I did step up to the plate at age 22 before letting one of these little planet-nibbling bundles of joy out of the bag. I am walking my talk because I got sterilized before I got my lily white ass sterilized voluntarily before letting any one of these little lily white planet eaters out of the goddamn bag. And I'm going to make this statement, and I'm going to step way out of character here. I think you guys understand that I am not Guy McPherson's biggest fan. I'm not going to get off on a Guy McPherson rant. Why Hambone Littletail is not Guy McPherson's biggest fan, but Guy McPherson, to his great credit, stepped up to the plate and got himself sterilized before he let any of these little planet-nibbling bundles of joy out of the bag. And Guy McPherson gets the Hambone Littletail Eco-Nazi Gold Star of the Day. Anybody who has stepped up to the plate and taken some fucking responsibility towards cleaning up the mess that's been created on this planet by doing the only thing that you can do to save this planet. Good for you, brother. Good for you, sister. And to anyone, I don't receive this when I do these. You know, if you want to save the planet by, you know, if you're concerned about overpopulation, want to save the planet, kill yourself. You know, at least I don't hear that ignorant shit. No, if you want to save the fucking planet, sterilize yourself. Anyway, that is the Hambone Eco-Nazi Immigration Manifesto. Sterilize every fucking immigrant on this planet. That is one place to start. And with that, I am going to wrap up this today's little whatever that just was. Pack up my gas-sucking truck, and I am going to get my lily white ass. I'm going to immigrate out of the great state of Massachusetts and immigrate over to Connecticut, where I'm pretty sure that my fellow tribes members I'm meeting up with over there, I'm 99% sure that Robert and Karen have never bred. So they get the gold star. Are you ready to pack it up and move on down the line again? Bye, guys. I think I've put the ducks to sleep with my rant.